Today's youth have more and more opportunities to take part in their country's politics, and one way to do that is through elections. In this video, we will explore the electoral systems of Estonia and Belgium, talk about why voting is important and what affects the voting behavior of young people. At the time of making this movie, local government elections are taking place in Estonia. The whole city is filled with election ads, yet many young people remain indifferent to them. This raises the question, what actually motivates young people to vote? First, let's compare the two electoral systems. Estonia and Belgium differ quite significantly in terms of elections and the organization of the state. Estonia is a unitary parliamentary republic with a single central level of government and a uniform legal and administrative system throughout the country. The state is governed by a single parliament, the Riigor, and the government is formed by the party or coalition that has gained a majority in parliament. Local governments operate under the same constitutional framework, and their competences are essentially the same across the entire country. Belgium, by contrast, is a federal parliamentary constitutional monarchy, where the structure of government is considerably more multi-layered. The state is formally headed by a king with a symbolic role, but political power is divided between the federal level, 3 language communities, Flemish, French and German, and 3 regions, Flanders, Wallonia and Brussels. Each level has its own parliament and government, whose competences are divided across areas such as education, culture, economy, social policy, and local administration. However, it's important to note that the Parliament of the Flemish language community and the Parliament of the Flanders region are merged into a single institution. This system means that political and administrative arrangements in Belgium may differ from one region to another, which also affects how elections are organized and how citizens participate in politics. From this structural difference arise different electoral systems and electoral practices both at local government level and in national elections. The electoral systems in Estonia and Belgium are similar in their basic design. In both countries, representatives are elected to local councils as well as to the national parliament, which shapes the political direction of the state and the organization of public life. At the same time, historical, linguistic, and institutional particularities influence how elections are conducted, what rules apply, and what role citizens have in participating in elections. In Estonia, local government elections take place every 4 years. These elections determine the city and rural municipality councils, whose role is to govern local life, making decisions on budget issues, planning, education, social welfare, and community development. Parties, electoral alliances, and independent candidates may stand for election, and citizens of the European Union and permanent residents living in the respective municipality may also vote. Estonia's specific feature is a nationally uniform legal framework and a high level of digital readiness. In local elections, it is possible to vote electronically over the internet, which has made participation, particularly for young people, more convenient and flexible in terms of time. In Belgium, local government elections are also highly important, but take place every 6 years and the system is more complex. Municipalities belong to different linguistic and administrative regions, Flanders, Wallonia and Brussels, and the rules may differ from one region to another. Voters elect the municipal council, but the appointment of the mayor is not solely within the competence of the local council. The regional level also plays a role. At the same time, voting in Belgium is mandatory. Citizens aged 16 and up for the European Parliament elections, 18 and up otherwise, are legally required to vote. And citizens of the European Union who have registered themselves are also allowed to participate in local elections. This results in very high voter turnout, although the motivation is often based on external obligation rather than internal conviction. When looking at parliamentary elections, Estonia elects its parliament according to a proportional electoral system, and voting is likewise voluntary. In Belgium, the parliament is bicameral and the political landscape is highly fragmented between linguistic regions and party blocs, which is reflected in election campaigns and political competition. From the perspective of young people's voting behavior, these differences become particularly significant. In Belgium, compulsory voting leads to high turnout among young people. More than 80% of young people actually take part. However, this does not always mean strong interest in politics. Many vote mainly because it is required by law. In Estonia, the logic is reversed. Voting is voluntary and turnout among young people often remains at 30 to 40%. Those young people who do vote tend to do so more consciously. Their decision is mainly influenced by interest in societal issues, the convenience of e-voting, and the visibility of campaigns on social media. Therefore, it can be said that although elections in both countries serve the same core function, participation in each country is driven by different motivators. The Belgian model is characterized by compulsory participation and institutional discipline, whereas the Estonian model is shaped by voluntariness, technological innovation, and individual responsibility. We also interviewed students from Gustav Adolfi Grammar School and St. Leavens College Humaniora in Belgium about young people's voting behavior.
Jaa, igal juhul plaanin.
Jaa.
Plaanin.
Jaa.
Palju näiteid ajaloost, kus üks hääl otsustab ja siis ma mõtlen, et miks ei või minu hääl sellest otsustada näiteks.
That way everyone is represented in the votings.
And it's important because everyone has an opinion, and I think it's important that everyone can
express
their,
what he thinks.
Yeah, what he thinks and what is important.
That way you can like express your opinion, and you can like make sure you have an influence on the politics and on your country.
I also think it's because you can indeed express your opinion better because we're still democratic. But I also think it's not that good for it to be mandatory because when you don't know who to vote, because we can vote when we were very young, and when we don't really know what kind of politics we're in, I think we can easily vote for the wrong one, and I think it shouldn't be mandatory.
Ma arvan, et kõige rohkem mõjutab see, et igal poliitikul on enne valimisi mingi kindel teema, mingi kindel statistika, mida nad pidevalt kordavad, ja kui ma näen, et see statistikal või mõttel on mingi päriselt point taga, siis ma arvatavasti valin nende poolt, kui ma samastun.
Minu otsust mõjutas minu varasem töökogemus nendega, nende suurepärane kampaania, reklaamikampaania ning kommentaarid, mis ma olin kuulnud oma sõpradelt ja tuttavatelt.
Ma arutan oma otsuse läbi oma isaga, mitte et tuleks lasta ennast väga mõjutada teiste inimeste arvamusest, eks ole, aga ma arutan seda oma isaga, ma peaks mõne artikliga lahti võtma, enne kui ma selle otsuse teen.
Social media is a huge impact on our choices, but also like family and friends, what they think. You talk about it and you express what you think. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think it's the surroundings a lot, because your friends talk about it, and in school they teach about it, but I think the most important is your family.
Mainly my own opinion. I don't really get influenced by my family but they have quite the same, they vote for the same person, I think. But
me, I think it's because we were very young. I was 16 at the time, and I think that's a little too young to vote, because I still am not really into politics. So I mainly let me get influenced by my family, because we didn't see a lot of campaigns at school, so we weren't really introduced to all the politics.
All Estonian students we interviewed said they planned to vote. The main reason for them was that voting allows their views to be represented in politics. When asked what influenced their choice, most mentioned party programs, election campaigns, and political promises. Some also said their parents and friends had an influence. Among Belgian students, everyone who was old enough had voted, as voting is compulsory in Belgium. Most students said voting is important because it ensures their political views are represented, and one student mentioned that it also raises public awareness. Their voting decisions were influenced mainly by family, but also by friends, school, social media, and party programs or promises. Several students explained that they were very young when they first voted, and therefore relied more on their family's opinions. In this educational film, we discussed how electoral systems shape political participation among young people by comparing Estonia and Belgium. Although both countries are democratic, their political structures and election rules are very different. Belgium's system is based on compulsory voting, which results in high turnout, especially among young people, but often with limited personal engagement. Estonia, on the other hand, relies on voluntary participation and digital innovation, leading to lower turnout but more conscious and self-motivated voting. Since the interviews show that a big part of Belgian students are influenced by others and do not always represent their personal political views, mandatory voting may not be the best way to conduct democratic elections. Keep in mind, if you don't vote, then others will vote and decide your future for you.